It's 2:14 in the morning. You haven't moved in 20 minutes, and you are running a conversation that hasn't happened yet. Something in you is keeping that feeling alive on purpose. This has a name: contrast avoidance. Your brain holds you at a low, steady level of bad, because a steady ache costs less than a sudden drop. You think that's a failure to switch off. It isn't. It's a strategy, and it is working. There is one more piece to this, and it is the reason every technique you have tried came back within a week. It is the whole point of this video. Look at where else this runs. Tuesday, 20 to 9 in the morning. You are in the car outside the office. You rehearse the worst version of the meeting, not the likely version, the worst one. Thursday afternoon. You sent the message 4 hours ago, and it has been read. There is nothing to check, so you check anyway, and then you build the reply you are afraid of getting. Friday night. Nothing is scheduled. Nothing is wrong. Your body will not stand down anyway. Nothing about those three situations is the same. The room changed. The hour changed. The problem changed. The bracing did not. In 1983, Thomas Borkovec and his colleagues at Penn State put the first real definition around this. They described worry as a chain of thoughts and images, negatively charged and relatively uncontrollable once it starts. And when they compared self-described worriers with everyone else, the thing that separated them was not how much they had to worry about. It was how little control they felt once the chain began moving. For the next 20 years, the explanation was simple. Worry was avoidance. You worried in words so you would not have to feel the thing in pictures. Reasonable. Wrong in one important place. Because if worry were avoidance, worry would feel like relief. It doesn't. It has never once felt like relief. In 2010, Sandra Lara and Michelle Newman ran the study that turned this around. 38 people with generalized anxiety, 35 without. Each one was assigned to worry, to relax, or to hold a neutral thought, and then shown film clips built to pull a range of emotions. Worry did not bring anyone down. It pushed arousal up and held it there. Then the frightening clip arrived, and the people who had been worrying did not spike. There was nowhere for them to spike to. They were already up. Newman and Lara published the model in 2011. Worry does not protect you from feeling bad. Worry protects you from the jump. They ran it again in 2014, with 48 people who had the diagnosis and 47 who did not, and got the same shape. This time they also asked what people thought had happened. The chronic worriers said the worrying had helped them cope with the frightening clip. The non-anxious group did not say that. Same result in the body. Only one group called it help. One more number, and this is the one that stings. In 2020, Lucas Lafreniere and Michelle Newman had 29 people with generalized anxiety record their worries as they happened across 10 days, then track what actually occurred over the following 30. 91.4% of those predictions never came true. You are paying the full price every night on a bill that arrives less than one time in 10. Now the piece that was missing. In 2022, Hanju Kim and Michelle Newman ran the same design with 268 people and added a third condition: worry, rumination, or relaxation. Worry flattened the drop, as expected. Rumination flattened it too, on the sadness side. And relaxation did the opposite. Relaxation made the contrast worse. That is not a footnote. That is the reason nothing has worked. Calm is not the neutral place you return to. Calm is the exposed place. Every minute you spend genuinely relaxed is a minute spent standing high enough to have somewhere to fall from. And something in you has already priced that fall. So the breathing exercise works for 10 minutes, and the worry comes back louder than before. That was never a failure of technique. Relaxing lifted you up, and you got pulled back down to a level where nothing can knock you over. Call it preloading. That is what 2 in the morning is for. You are preloading, so that nothing tomorrow can arrive as news. So where does a rule like this come from? Not from your childhood, and not from the Stone Age. It falls out of how the machine reads emotion in the first place. Your emotional system does not measure how you feel. It measures how much your feeling just changed. You know this from your skin, Step out of bright sunlight into an ordinary room, and the room looks almost black, then normal 90 seconds later. Same room, different starting point. Run cold hands under the tap, and the water feels scalding, and 5 minutes later the same water is lukewarm. The number never moved. Your reference did. Emotion is priced the same way. What lands is the size of the shift, measured against wherever you were standing a moment before. That is not a flaw. It is a specification. And the moment a system prices change instead of level, one move becomes available to it. Lower where you start. If you never come up, nothing can bring you down. Worry is how you stay low. It is worth saying what the alternative would cost, because this design is not stupid. A mind that measured only absolute levels, indifferent to shifts, would be a mind that could not detect news. The jolt is the signal. That lurch when the phone rings at the wrong hour is not a malfunction of your alarm system. It is your alarm system telling you something changed and to look now. Take away sensitivity to contrast, and you would walk past every warning you have ever been given, perfectly calm. And the strategy built on top of it has never failed once. Every night you brace, the next day fails to destroy you. The verdict comes back the same. That worked, do it again. It gets reinforced whether or not the bad thing was ever coming. A system that only ever reports success is a very hard system to argue with. One honest note before the practical part. Most of this work was done with people diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, and you may not be one of them. But in the 2022 study, the blunting showed up in everyone tested, including the people with no diagnosis at all. What set the chronic worriers apart was not the mechanism. It was that they rated the worry as having helped. So here's what you can actually do with this. Take the name first. Tonight, say it in plain words to yourself or to someone else. You are not failing to relax. You are holding yourself low so that a fall cannot reach you. That is contrast avoidance. Then run the test. For the next 10 days, every time you catch yourself bracing, write the worry down as a prediction with a date attached. 2 numbers beside it, 0 to 100. How likely it feels. How likely you think it actually is. Then 30 days from now, go back and mark each one true or false. Lafreniere's number was 91.4. Yours is the only one that matters, and you will never guess it correctly from memory. 3 counter moves, all of them from this literature. Keep writing the predictions. In that study, the people whose worries were disconfirmed the most were the people whose symptoms dropped the most. Practice savoring. In a 2022 randomized trial, 85 people with generalized anxiety were split in 2, and one group was prompted 8 times a day for a week to deliberately notice a good moment and stay inside it. Contrast avoidance fell in that group and not in the control. This is not gratitude journaling. It is staying in a pleasant feeling about 30 seconds longer than is comfortable. Postpone the worry. Borkowicz's technique from 1983. 1 fixed window each day, same time, same chair, 20 to 30 minutes. Anything that shows up outside it gets one written line and gets deferred to the window. Be honest about the size of this one. A 2024 meta-analysis across 7 trials and 999 people found real reductions in worry, but small ones, and 1 trial in diagnosed patients found nothing at all. It is a tool, not a cure. And the cost, because this is where most people quit. Savoring will feel worse than worrying for about a week. Sitting inside a good feeling with nothing braced underneath, it will feel exposed, unearned, almost unsafe. That is not the technique failing. That is the exact feeling the worry was built to prevent, arriving on schedule. Day 2 is supposed to be uncomfortable. It's 2:14 in the morning, and you haven't moved in 20 minutes. Nothing is wrong. You are just standing as low as you can, so that tomorrow has nothing to knock down. You can stand up now. It will feel like falling for a while.